A storm of off-field controversies has hit our star player hard, and the consequences are currently shaking the structure of the Commanders. The fallout on social media has completely spiraled out of control, putting our great leader under psychological pressure that no one expected to see before the start of the season. But the real problem is that this drama is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, a significant absence in the backup quarterback position has opened an urgent and fierce competition. Two young talents are fighting tooth and nail for this golden opportunity, and one of them is about to surprise the entire fan base by taking on a key role in our offensive scheme. To make matters worse, the recent debut of one of our top first-round rookies has put fans on high alert. However, the coaching staff has a very different perspective and had foreseen every detail of what happened on the field. I'm about to reveal who the young player is that is winning the backup spot, the truth about the performance of our rookie, and all the details of the drama involving our starting quarterback. Leave a like on the video. It's just a click, and it helps me a lot. Come with me, because the behind the scenes of our team is on fire. Marcus Mariota's absence from the remaining preseason games exponentially increases the importance of the competition for the backup quarterback position. Sam Hartman and rookie Athan Kaliakmanis will have more time on the field to define their position on the roster, vying for the spot between two developing young talents. The first unofficial player list from Washington placed Hartman in third and Kaliakmanis in fourth in the hierarchy for the preseason. Although Dan Quinn said the team is optimistic that Mariota will be ready for Week 1, the next two games will give Washington the chance to evaluate what they have available. This is one of the most discrete battles for a roster spot during training camp, where the team needs to determine not only which of the two is better, but also if either of them deserves a spot on the 53-man roster, or if they can be waived and allocated to the practice squad. Hartman has been with Washington since arriving as an undrafted free agent in 2024, and started this training camp with much more familiarity with the organization and NFL preseason football than Kaliakmanis. Last preseason, Hartman completed 25 of 46 passes for 207 yards, with 4 interceptions in those 3 games, and was waived but signed with the practice squad as a developing quarterback. Washington used the 223rd overall pick in this year's draft to select Kaliakmanis, a former Rutgers quarterback, who arrives with different expectations. On Friday night against the Dolphins, Hartman completed 8 of 15 passes for 80 yards, with no touchdowns and 1 interception, and was sacked once, finishing the game with a rating of 41.0. Hartman's biggest mistake came 8 seconds before the end of the first quarter when he tried to find Dyami Brown near the end zone, and Dolphins cornerback Marco Wilson intercepted the pass. Hartman recovered a bit after that, but the damage was already done. Kaliakmanis completed 6 of 10 passes for 87 yards, had no turnovers, and recorded a rating of 88.3. He also managed to complete several medium and long-distance passes during the game, including one of 28 yards to Jacoby Jones and another of 17 yards to Colson Yankoff, giving Washington a concrete demonstration of the talent of the quarterback they drafted. It's worth noting as well that Hartman faced several of the Dolphins' starting defenders when he first entered the field, while Kaliakmanis faced reserves during the time he was on the field. In an interview that Kaliakmanis gave in July, he provided an interesting answer when asked about his stay in the NFL and what he was most focused on. He said he trusts his intuition during the game and does not second-guess his decisions. His main focus is to improve his understanding of the offense. Learning every detail of each play is his priority now, and it shows maturity for a young quarterback. Now, instead of concentrating on data from an insignificant preseason game, Hartman and Kaliakmanis will have significant opportunities against Detroit and Baltimore for Washington to see if either of them can stand out. Quinn confirmed on Sunday that Mariota's absence will mean more work for both quarterbacks. This will allow for more repetitions in the coming weeks with Hartman and Kaliakmanis in that position. Washington also does not plan to sign another quarterback at this time, which means that these additional opportunities will continue to be with Hartman and Kaliakmanis. Hartman will need to prove that he has evolved since the performance that Washington saw in the 2025 preseason, which was not good. While Kaliakmanis does not have the organizational experience of being integrated into the team, he now has the opportunity to start from scratch and build from there. Washington does not believe that Mariota's injury will extend into the season, but needs to ensure that Hartman or Kaliakmanis can become the third quarterback that the team can develop to play behind Jaden Daniels, if necessary in the future. The team also needs to assess if either of the two players deserves a spot on the roster this season. The game against Detroit will be the next checkpoint in the developing quarterback battle. But while this was happening on the field, there was another story unfolding that left many fans in a panic. The anticipation for Friday night at Northwest Stadium was palpable. For Washington Commanders fans, the preseason debut against the Miami Dolphins was not just a matter of shaking off the rust. It was also the big showcase of the 7th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, linebacker Sonny Styles. Although the Commanders came away with a 27 victory, the big highlight of the night was the highly touted rookie. And to be completely honest, Styles did not have an ideal debut. But before anyone panics, let's talk about why his struggles are exactly what the coaching staff wanted. Coming from Ohio State University, Styles was celebrated for his exceptional athleticism. A 40-yard dash in 4.46 seconds, and an impressive vertical jump of 110.5 centimeters made him every scout's dream. But raw physical attributes do not automatically translate into instinctive linebacker play in the NFL. Friday night's game exposed some of those early difficulties. Styles found himself a step behind on some reads and seemed hesitant while navigating through the chaos of the area. For a player who unexpectedly received the responsibility of relaying defensive plays right in his first NFL game, the game clearly seemed a bit fast for him at times. But here's the secret. The Commanders were already expecting this. Early in the week, defensive coordinator Durante Jones made an interesting comment about the rookie. Jones noted that Styles historically was a very black and white player, a strict rule follower on the field. To succeed in Washington's new defensive scheme, Jones emphasized that Styles needs to learn to live in that gray area. In fact, Jones explicitly stated that they want him to make mistakes now. Dan Quinn also previously stated something similar, encouraging Styles to break the rules. They need him to stop overthinking, play freely, and trust his instincts, even if it leads to a disastrous performance in August. Friday night was the first real test of this philosophy, and the resulting mistakes were simply the price to pay for learning. Quinn was very clear about this, saying he wants to encourage him to make a mistake, to take risks, to try the shot, because he is such a respectful guy who does everything right. Despite the rookie moments of inexperience, not everything was discouraging. If you ignored the hesitation, the fundamental qualities that made him a top 10 pick were impossible to overlook. There was one particular play where Styles ran down the sideline, matching a tight end step for step in coverage, a play that showed exactly why he was brought in to be a starter alongside veteran Frankie Louvu. The speed from one sideline to the other is real. The coverage potential is enticing. He needs his mental processing speed to match his physical speed. On another play, he seemed to be more instinctual and made a read without sticking to the plan. As a result, he attacked the A-gap, shed the guard's block before taking down the running back. The preseason of American football is a laboratory. It's where rookies must push their limits, make mistakes, and readjust before the games that actually count. Sonny Styles did not have a memorable debut. He looked like a rookie linebacker trying to assimilate the NFL playbook while attempting to unlearn his instinct to be a rigid rule follower. But by logging those mistakes against the Dolphins, Styles and the coaching staff now have the exact plan they need for the remainder of training camp. He did not have an ideal Friday night, but in the long run, it could be the most important game he plays all year. Meanwhile, Jaden Daniels was far from the field's spotlight, but receiving unexpected negative attention. The Washington Commanders quarterback has been receiving a lot of negative attention from the press following his cease and desist letter to LSU, demanding they stop using his name, image, and likeness. The letter was motivated by Daniels' belief that the Tigers should not have allowed anyone else to wear his number 5 jersey in the program after his Heisman Trophy win 3 years ago. In recent days, the sports world has been subject to mockery across all spheres, and it continued this week with multiple MLB teams criticizing the star on social media. Nothing unites the sports world more than good-natured ribbing of someone who got too big for their britches, and that is exactly what seems to have happened with the Commander's star in this case. Daniels himself tried to quell the fire with some comments on social media, but the damage was already done when his statement was released. There are doubts whether it was Daniels himself or his representative, more specifically his mother, who over the years has earned a reputation for being controlling, who took the initiative to criticize LSU. But whoever it is, the sports world did not exactly side with Daniels in this fiasco. For now, Daniels will try to keep his focus on the upcoming season for the Commanders, where the team will look to bounce back after missing the playoffs in a disastrous 2025 campaign. Washington will kick off its new regular season on September 13th at home against the Chicago Bears. So here's the question that won't go away. Do you think Cal McManus will surprise everyone and secure the backup spot, or will Hartman redeem himself and prove he deserved a second chance?